Alex Carter walked through the streets of Lyra's city with a calm determination. The council had approved his worthiness, and the frontier missions had proven his courage, creativity, and humanity. Yet today felt different. There was an air of celebration, of anticipation, that Alex could feel even in the quietest corners of the city. He was about to take a step that no human had ever taken before, a step that would solidify not only his bond with Lyra, but also humanity's recognition among the Corellians. Lyra walked beside him, her presence steady and reassuring. She wore the ceremonial robes of her people, glowing faintly in the light and reflecting centuries of tradition. Her eyes sparkled with pride and affection as she glanced at him. "Are you ready?" she asked softly. Alex nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. "I think so. This is bigger than anything I've imagined, bigger than anything I've studied or experienced." Lyra's hand found his, and he felt a warmth that steadied him. "That is why you were chosen. Humans have a way of rising to challenges that others often underestimate. You have proven that. Today, the universe will see it too." They arrived at the ceremonial plaza, a vast open space surrounded by Corellian architecture that shimmered like crystal. Citizens, officials, and honored guests had gathered, forming a circle around a central platform where the ceremony would take place. The energy in the air was palpable, a combination of anticipation, curiosity, and respect. The council members were seated at the front, their expressions attentive. Some were smiling, others still reserved, but all eyes were on Alex. He could feel the weight of the moment pressing on him, but he also felt a sense of pride. He had faced tests of courage, strategy, and morality, and he had succeeded. Now it was time to face the ultimate challenge, recognition of his place among Lyra's people. A soft musical tone filled the air as Lyra stepped forward onto the platform. Alex followed, feeling the energy shift around him. The council's eldest member raised a hand, and the plaza fell silent. The ceremony began. "Alex Carter," the eldest counselor intoned, "you have faced challenges that tested your courage, ingenuity, and character. You have acted with integrity, creativity, and compassion. Today you stand not only as a visitor to our world, but as a partner to Lyra of the Corellian people. Speak now, and tell us why you accept this union." Alex took a deep breath, his gaze sweeping the plaza. "I accept this union," he began, his voice steady despite the butterflies in his stomach. "I accept it not because it is easy or expected, but because I have learned, observed, and grown. I have seen the strength, wisdom, and kindness of Lyra and her people. I have faced challenges that tested me, and I have discovered what it truly means to act with courage, creativity, and empathy. I choose to join my life with Lyra because I respect her, I trust her, and I believe together we can face whatever the universe brings. I am proud to be human, and I am proud to share my humanity with this world." A hush fell over the plaza. Alex could see the council exchanging glances, some nodding, some whispering. Lyra's expression softened as she reached out and took both his hands. "And I accept you, Alex," she said. "I accept your courage, your creativity, and your humanity. Together we will face the challenges of our worlds, and together we will grow stronger." The council's eldest member rose, his voice carrying over the plaza. "By the authority of the Corellian Council, and in recognition of merit, courage, and unity, this council acknowledges the bond between Lyra and Alex Carter. Let this union serve as a symbol of the value of understanding, courage, and the strengths that humans bring to our galaxy." The plaza erupted in applause and cheers. Citizens and officials alike stepped forward to offer congratulations. Alex felt a warmth that spread through him, a sense of belonging he had never experienced before. Humans had often been underestimated by alien societies, but now he realized that courage, empathy, and ingenuity could earn respect across the stars. Lyra leaned close, whispering in his ear, "You did it, Alex. You've shown them what it means to be human." Alex smiled, feeling a surge of pride. "No, we did it together." The ceremony continued with the traditional rites of Lyra's people. Symbols of trust, courage, and unity were exchanged, glowing faintly in their hands as energy flowed through the plaza. The ritual was unlike anything Alex had ever witnessed, combining beauty, tradition, and emotion in a way that transcended language. He felt the energy resonate with him, as if recognizing his actions, his heart, and his humanity. As the final part of the ceremony concluded, Lyra and Alex stood together, hands entwined, facing the crowd. Citizens of all species cheered, applauded, and even shed tears of joy. For Alex, this moment was more than personal. It was symbolic. It was a moment where humans were not outsiders, not weak, not inferior, but capable of inspiring respect and admiration through courage, creativity, and empathy. The celebrations extended into the evening. Holographic lights danced across the sky, projecting images of galaxies, constellations, and scenes from both Corellian and human history. Music filled the plaza, a harmonious blend of cultures that symbolized unity and connection. Alex laughed as he watched children, both human and Corellian, play together, their curiosity and joy bridging worlds. Lyra led him to a quieter balcony overlooking the city. The lights of the plaza shimmered below, reflecting in the crystalline structures. The twin moons rose in the distance, bathing the scene in soft silver light. "You've come a long way, Alex," Lyra said softly, her hand resting on his shoulder. "From a human visitor in our world to a partner recognized by the Council and our people. You've proven not only your courage but the value of humanity itself." Alex looked at her, his heart full. "I never imagined that humans could be seen this way. I always thought we were just ordinary, just surviving. But you've shown me something else. That we can inspire, protect, and make a difference, even in worlds far beyond our own." Lyra smiled, her eyes reflecting the moons. "Exactly. And together, we will continue to face challenges, explore, and grow. Your humanity complements our strengths, and our society will benefit from what you bring. Courage, empathy, and creativity, these are universal, Alex. Today proves that humans matter." Alex felt a swell of pride and purpose. He realized that his journey had not only been about personal achievement, but about proving the potential of his species. Humans were often underestimated in the galaxy, but courage, ingenuity, and empathy were forces that no one could ignore. Today, he had not only won Lyra's hand, but had also shown that humans could shine on the galactic stage. As they stood together, watching the celebrations below, Alex felt a sense of belonging he had never known. He was part of something larger than himself, part of a union that bridged species, cultures, and worlds. He understood that his human qualities, once dismissed, once underestimated, were now recognized, respected, and celebrated. The night continued with music, laughter, and storytelling. Alex shared tales of his human adventures, his travels, and his observations, while Lyra introduced him to Corellian history, art, and traditions. Their bond grew deeper with every word, every gesture, and every shared experience. At the end of the evening, as the city quieted and the stars twinkled above, Alex realized that his life had changed forever. He had traveled the galaxy, faced danger, and been tested by a species far more advanced than his own. Yet through every trial, his humanity had been his greatest strength. Courage, empathy, creativity, these were not just traits. They were bridges connecting him to Lyra, her people, and the galaxy itself. Lyra turned to him, her expression serene. "The universe is vast, Alex. There will be challenges, discoveries, and wonders beyond imagination. But together we will face them. Your humanity is our strength, and my strength is with you. This is only the beginning." Alex smiled, feeling a warmth and confidence he had never known. "Then let's face it together, all of it, and let the galaxy see what humans can do." And so, as the twin moons cast their silver light over the crystalline city, Alex Carter and Lyra stood side by side, united by trust, respect, and the extraordinary qualities that made humanity shine among the stars. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and wonders, but together they were unstoppable, a testament to courage, empathy, and the remarkable power of the human spirit. For the first time, Alex truly understood that being human was not a limitation. It was a gift, and now it was a gift that the universe could no longer ignore. The stars streaked past the viewport of the intrepid Dawn as Marcus Hale and Solara stood in the command room. The ship hummed softly, the engines vibrating underfoot, but the silence between them was tense. Marcus studied the stars, calculating their next move. The Dominion would not let Solara escape so easily, and they would come for them with overwhelming force. Every human in the galaxy knew the Dominion's reputation: efficient, merciless, and cunning. Solara floated slightly above the deck, her eyes closed, sensing the currents of energy around the ship. "They are coming," she said finally, her voice calm yet warning-laden. "The Dominion will not forgive my escape. They will pursue relentlessly, and they will not stop until I am returned or destroyed. Marcus nodded, feeling the familiar tightness in his chest. We'll need a plan. We can't outrun them forever, and we can't fight them head-on. He turned to study her, realizing that despite the centuries of captivity, she was powerful. But that power had limits. I don't know your full abilities yet, but we'll have to use them carefully. Solara opened her eyes, which glimmered with a faint violet light. My strength has been drained for centuries. Alone I am weak, but with you, your human instincts, your unpredictability, we can survive. Perhaps even turn the odds in our favor. Marcus swallowed, a mixture of pride and anxiety rising in him. Humans had always survived against impossible odds, not because of their strength, but because they adapted. They improvised, they felt, and now in the darkness of space, with an ancient being at his side, Marcus understood the weight of what they could accomplish together. Their first move was to find a safe location to hide and regroup. The Dominion fleet was vast, far larger than anything humanity could match directly. Marcus suggested an uncharted asteroid belt he had studied in the system's outer rim. It was dangerous, with massive rocks moving unpredictably, but it provided natural cover and confusion. We can hide there, he said. It's risky, but the Dominion will have difficulty tracking us. Solara nodded. Good. We will need every advantage we can muster. The journey to the asteroid belt was tense. The Dominion had already dispatched reconnaissance drones which monitored the human ship's trajectory. Marcus used every trick he knew. Evasive maneuvers, sudden course changes, and subtle electronic interference. Solara assisted by subtly amplifying the ship's energy signatures, masking their presence without triggering alarms. It was delicate work, each mistake potentially fatal. After hours of careful navigation, they reached the asteroid belt. Giant rocks drifted in irregular orbits, colliding occasionally with deafening crashes that shook the nearby debris. Marcus maneuvered the ship through narrow gaps, careful not to scrape the hull. Solara extended her senses, alerting him to every movement, every fluctuation in energy. Together, they worked in perfect sync. They had found temporary safety, but Marcus knew the Dominion would not give up easily. He studied the stars, searching for patterns in the fleet's movement. They'll come, he said quietly. And next time they'll bring more than drones. Solara's expression hardened. Then we must be ready. You have done well so far, human, but survival requires more than skill. It requires courage, and a willingness to act when others hesitate. Can you do that? Marcus met her gaze. I've done it before. I'll do it again. Over the next few days, they repaired the intrepid Dawn and prepared for what was coming. Solara taught Marcus to anticipate energy fluctuations and read patterns in alien technology. He learned quickly, using his human intuition in ways Solara found impressive. Yet every night he lay awake, listening for the faint hum in the ship, feeling the tension that came with knowing the Dominion was hunting them. One morning, alarms blared. Marcus rushed to the command deck and Solara followed. Outside, the asteroid belt was suddenly lit by a massive Dominion warship, its sensors scanning every rock and crevice. Smaller fighter ships emerged, surrounding them like a predator closing in on prey. Marcus's stomach tightened, but he did not panic. Remember what I taught you, Solara said, her voice calm. Use the environment. Use your instincts. And do not underestimate them. Marcus nodded. We're ready. Let's make them regret following us. The battle began with sudden intensity. The Dominion fighters darted between asteroids, firing energy beams that lit the dark void with violent flashes. Marcus piloted the ship with precision, weaving between rocks and using the shadows of the belt to hide. Solara amplified the ship's energy signature, creating illusions that made it appear as though the intrepid Dawn had split into multiple vessels. The Dominion fighters fired at phantoms, wasting their attacks. Marcus smiled faintly. Humans had survived worse odds by improvising, and this was no different. Keep it up, he shouted. They'll fall for it every time. Solara's psychic presence added a new dimension. She extended her senses, predicting the fighters' movements, sending Marcus warnings in fractions of a second. Together, they turned the hunters into the hunted. One by one, Dominion fighters collided with asteroids or with each other, and the warship itself struggled to maintain control in the chaotic field. But the Dominion was relentless. A new wave of ships emerged, larger and better equipped, forcing Marcus to push the ship to its limits. Energy shields flickered, warning lights flashed, and every system strained under the pressure. Solara's strength was waning, her centuries-long exhaustion catching up to her despite her resolve. Marcus realized that sheer cleverness and skill alone would not be enough. He needed something more, something unexpected. "Solara," he shouted over the comms, "I need your help. Really push yourself. Trust me." Her eyes met his, and he saw the faintest glimmer of hope mixed with fear. "I trust you, human. But know this, if I fail, we both die." Marcus nodded. "I know. But we survive together, or not at all." Solara extended her hands, her psychic energy flaring. The ship shook violently as waves of force rippled outward, disabling nearby fighters and causing electrical systems in the Dominion warship to overload. Sparks flew, lights flickered, and alarms screamed. Marcus seized the moment, piloting the intrepid Dawn through a narrow gap in the asteroid field, moving faster than anyone could anticipate. The Dominion fleet was caught off guard. Ships collided, weapons misfired, and the larger warship struggled to regain control. Marcus's heart pounded, but he remained focused, trusting his instincts and Solara's guidance. Together they created chaos, turning their pursuers into a fractured, disorganized mess. After what felt like hours but was likely only minutes, the Dominion ships retreated, forced to regroup and reconsider their strategy. Marcus and Solara hovered in the quiet aftermath, the asteroid belt now peaceful again. Solara sank slightly, exhausted, her energy nearly spent. "You are remarkable human," she whispered. "I have fought for centuries and seen countless beings. None have your ingenuity, your determination. You inspire hope, even in the darkest circumstances." Marcus shook his head, still gripping the controls. "It's not me alone. It's you two. Together we can survive anything." She looked at him, her gaze intense and unwavering. "Perhaps humanity is different than I believed. Perhaps your kind is capable of things even you do not realize. Your empathy, your courage. It is not weakness. It is strength." Marcus felt a warmth in his chest. Humans had always survived because of their ability to care, to act when others failed, to adapt. Solara's words confirmed what he had always known. Humanity's greatest weapon was not firepower or technology. It was heart, mind and spirit combined. Yet even as they celebrated their small victory, Marcus knew this was only the beginning. The Dominion would not stop, and the galaxy was vast and full of dangers beyond comprehension. Solara's freedom was fragile, their alliance new, and every choice they made could have far-reaching consequences. But Marcus felt ready. He had answered a call when no one else would. He had listened, acted, and survived. And now, with Solara by his side, he was prepared to face whatever the Dominion and the galaxy threw at them next. As the stars stretched endlessly beyond the viewport, Marcus allowed himself a moment of reflection. Humanity had survived wars, plagues, and impossible odds on countless worlds. Now, in the void of space, they had a chance to prove themselves once more. And Marcus Hale, a single human soldier who had chosen to listen when everyone else ignored the cries, understood one truth more clearly than ever. Survival was not enough. To change the galaxy, they needed to act, to inspire, and to fight for what others had abandoned. Solara floated beside him, her presence both a reminder of the stakes and a testament to their growing bond. Together they would face the Dominion, defy impossible odds, and perhaps ignite a spark of hope that could spread across the stars. For the first time in centuries, Solara smiled, a faint, weary smile, but real, and Marcus knew that this was only the beginning of a journey that would test every ounce of courage, ingenuity, and humanity he possessed. Alex Carter had faced challenges before, but nothing prepared him for the one that awaited in the heart of Corellian society. After proving his courage and ingenuity on the frontier, he and Lyra returned to her city. The streets that had once seemed breathtaking now felt imposing. The crystalline towers shimmered in the sunlight, but behind their beauty lay expectations, traditions, and the weight of centuries-old rules. Lyra guided him to the council hall, a massive structure made of translucent materials that glowed softly from within. The building seemed to breathe with life, resonating with energy as if it recognized every visitor. Alex's heart pounded. The Corellian Council had never approved an interspecies marriage of this magnitude. His presence here was unprecedented, and the eyes of some of the most powerful beings in the galaxy would judge him. "You must understand," Lyra said softly as they approached the grand entrance. "The Council is cautious. They value tradition, logic, and order above all. They will question your worthiness, your intentions, and your ability to live as a Corellian partner. Your actions, your words, and even your mannerisms will be under scrutiny. Alex swallowed. I understand. I'll try my best. Lyra's eyes softened. That is all I ask. Be yourself and let your humanity show. That is your strength. Inside, the council hall was vast beyond imagination. The chamber was circular, with elevated seats for the council members who seemed to float above the floor. Light shimmered across the walls, projecting images of Corellian history, achievements, and values. The council members were statuesque, their presence commanding respect and attention. Alex felt a wave of intimidation. Alex Carter, Lyra announced as they entered. This is my choice. He has proven himself in our frontier tests, and I wish for the council to understand why I seek his companionship. Murmurs spread across the chamber. Some council members leaned forward, intrigued. Others frowned, skeptical of this unprecedented union. One tall, stern Corellian spoke first. Lyra, you risk tradition and protocol by proposing a human as your partner. How can you justify this decision? Lyra's voice was calm but firm. I justify it through observation, experience, and understanding. Alex Carter has demonstrated courage, creativity, and empathy in ways that even the most skilled Corellians cannot. His actions have stabilized energy disturbances, protected lives, and inspired those around him. I trust him, and I seek a life with him because he embodies qualities that our society values, yet rarely recognizes in humans. Alex felt a surge of pride, but also anxiety. The council would not be swayed by Lyra's admiration alone. He needed to show them his worth himself. When the stern Corellian spoke again, he straightened. Human, the council member said. Explain why you believe you are worthy of a Corellian partner. Speak plainly, for your words will carry weight. Alex took a deep breath. I may not have the skills or history of a Corellian, but I have learned, observed, and acted. I've faced challenges that required courage and creativity. I've worked with your people, and I've learned from them. I try to do what is right, to protect life and to inspire trust. I don't claim perfection, but I do claim the ability to act with purpose and care. That is why I believe I can stand as a worthy partner to Lyra. The council members exchanged glances. Some were impressed by his honesty. Others seemed unconvinced. Another member, older and quieter, spoke. Words are easy, human. Actions are what matter. How will we know your qualities are genuine and not merely cleverness or luck? Alex nodded, expecting this challenge. I understand. That is why I invite the council to observe me directly. Let me participate in tasks, decisions, and missions that will show my intentions and abilities. I do not ask for trust blindly. I am willing to prove it. A murmur of approval ran through some seats. Lyra smiled slightly. Very well. The council may observe. Human courage and ingenuity will be tested again, this time in social and moral situations rather than physical ones. Are you prepared, Alex? Alex straightened. I am. Over the following days, the council designed a series of tests to assess him. The first involved diplomacy. A neighboring Corellian district had been experiencing tension over resources, and the council wanted Alex to mediate. While Corellians relied on rigid protocols, Alex approached the situation differently. He listened first, spoke honestly, and suggested solutions that combined fairness with practicality. His human perspective revealed compromises the Corellians had overlooked, calming tensions quickly. Lyra watched silently, pride shining in her eyes. The council members who had doubted him began to whisper among themselves. Alex's ingenuity and empathy were having a tangible effect, and even the sternest critics could not ignore it. The next test involved strategy. A simulation projected potential disasters in the city, energy surges, structural instabilities, and sudden environmental changes. Alex was asked to propose a plan to protect citizens while minimizing disruption. He considered the human approach of adaptability, thinking beyond rigid patterns, prioritizing both logic and the human element of care. His plan succeeded where purely Corellian approaches failed. Buildings were stabilized, citizens were evacuated safely, and chaos was minimized. The council was visibly impressed. They had expected calculated logical solutions, but Alex had added insight, intuition, and empathy, human qualities that complemented Corellian skill. However, not all members were convinced. One member, sharp-eyed and suspicious, questioned his motivations. And what of loyalty, human? Can you maintain your commitment when faced with pressure, danger, or opposition? Words and actions in controlled settings are not proof of devotion. Alex met the counselor's gaze steadily. Loyalty is not about obedience or fear. It is about choice, about standing by what you believe is right and protecting those you care for. I cannot promise perfection, but I can promise that I will act with purpose, courage, and respect for Lyra and her people. That is the essence of loyalty. There was a pause. Even the skeptical counselor seemed to consider his words. Lyra reached out, lightly touching his arm. He speaks with honesty, she said. I trust him, and I believe the council will come to see his value as well. Finally, the last challenge was both subtle and profound. The council staged a moral dilemma, presenting Alex with a situation where he had to choose between saving a group of Corellians in immediate danger or preventing a larger catastrophe affecting the planet. The Corellians had calculated probabilities and risks, expecting the human to follow the safest statistical path, but Alex's human intuition guided him differently. He devised a solution that minimized harm to both groups, taking calculated risks and inspiring others to act. His approach balanced logic with compassion, creativity with courage. The council observed in silence as the crisis was resolved successfully. When the last pulse of danger subsided, murmurs turned into discussions and then into nods of approval. Alex had done more than meet expectations. He had shown them that humanity could contribute uniquely to Corellian society. Lyra stepped forward. You have seen the human in action, she said. You have witnessed courage, creativity, and empathy. These are not merely words or simulations. They are qualities that Alex Carter embodies. I seek a partner who inspires greatness, and I have found that in him. A long silence followed. Finally, the eldest council member spoke. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but this one has proven remarkable. He has acted with courage, insight, and compassion. He has shown that your admiration is justified. Lyra, this council grants its cautious approval, with the understanding that mutual respect and observation will continue. Relief flooded Alex. He had feared rejection, ridicule, or failure. But now he saw the value of being human recognized in a society that often dismissed outsiders. He realized that courage, empathy, and ingenuity were more than personal traits. They were universal strengths that could inspire respect and change. Lyra's eyes shone with pride. She took his hand gently. You have done more than I hoped, Alex. You have proven that humans can rise to challenges that even the most advanced species underestimate. This council now sees what I see. A human capable of standing alongside Corellians as an equal, a partner, and a source of inspiration. Alex felt a surge of purpose and connection. He had navigated cultural barriers, faced moral dilemmas, and shown courage in both action and spirit. For the first time, he truly understood why Lyra had chosen him, not for perfection, not for novelty, but for the unique qualities that humans could bring to the galaxy. As he walked with Lyra through the glowing corridors of the council hall, he realized that his journey was far from over. Challenges would continue, both from the galaxy and from the complexities of interspecies life. But he was ready. He had proven himself not only to Lyra and the council but to himself. Being human was no longer a limitation. It was a strength, a gift, and a force capable of inspiring wonder and respect. For Alex Carter, the universe had opened a new chapter. With Lyra by his side, he could face any challenge, confident that courage, empathy, and ingenuity would guide him, and that humans could truly shine among the stars. The morning on Zithera began quietly, but Ethan felt a tension in the air. The alien female, as usual, was perched near her nest, wings partially folded, eyes scanning the cliffs and forests. Ethan noticed her alert posture and knew that she sensed something he could not yet see. He had grown accustomed to her instincts, and they were almost always accurate. If she was uneasy, then he needed to be cautious. He checked his equipment carefully. Cameras were positioned, sensors activated, and the flare gun ready, though he hoped not to use it. The alien female watched him closely, shifting slightly as he approached. She flared her wings subtly, a warning signal he had learned to recognize. Ethan stayed calm, moving slowly, letting her dictate the pace. Hours passed with little incident, but then he noticed movement in the forest below. Shadows darted among the trees, and Ethan instinctively crouched, The female's eyes sharpened, her wings extending partially as she prepared. Ethan realized that the predators here were not small or simple creatures. They were intelligent, fast and dangerous. Suddenly, a large, quadrupedal predator burst from the tree line, sprinting toward the cliffside nest. Its claws dug into the rocky soil, and its teeth gleamed in the morning light. Ethan's heart raced. He knew the alien female would protect her eggs, but he had also become part of her world. Now he was included in that danger. She reacted instantly, spreading her wings fully, her body low and powerful. Her claws dug into the rocks, ready to strike. The predator stopped for a moment, sizing her up. Ethan noted her strategy. She made herself appear larger, flaring her iridescent scales to intimidate while keeping her body low to maintain balance. The predator lunged, but she was faster, striking with precision. Ethan instinctively raised his flare gun, firing to distract the predator, and it momentarily recoiled. But the female was already engaged, moving with a speed and intelligence he had never expected. She drove the predator back, using both her strength and her understanding of the terrain. Rocks shifted under her claws as she maneuvered, positioning herself between the predator and the nest. Ethan watched in awe. She was more than powerful. She was tactical. Every movement had purpose. Every hiss, every flap of her wings, every positioning of her claws was calculated. He realized that her species must have evolved complex combat strategies, not just for hunting, but for protecting their young and territory. The predator retreated slightly, circling to find another opening. Ethan could see the tension in the alien female's posture. She hissed low and threatening, wings spread wide. Then, almost as if communicating silently with Ethan, she directed her attention to him, acknowledging his presence. Ethan froze, realizing that she had included him in her protective plan. He understood instinctively what she wanted. He was to stay alert, to assist in any way he could without interfering recklessly. Ethan moved carefully to a higher position on the cliff, giving her space while observing the predator's behavior. He fired another flare, successfully distracting the creature, and it lunged again, but she was ready. She struck with lightning speed, forcing it to retreat once more. For hours, the predator tested them, darting forward and then withdrawing, trying to find a weakness. The alien female was relentless, her strength and tactics perfect. Ethan realized that her perception of him as a mate extended to survival. She now saw him as someone worth protecting, someone integral to her world. Each time the predator lunged toward him, she repositioned herself, wings angled protectively, claws ready. Finally, the predator, recognizing it could not win, slunk back into the forest. The alien female let out a low melodic hum, signaling the end of the confrontation. Ethan exhaled deeply, his hands trembling slightly. He realized how close he had come to danger, and how completely he had been included in her life. She had risked herself not only for her eggs but now for him as well. After the predator retreated, she returned to the nest, wings folding gracefully, eyes still sharp but calm. Ethan approached cautiously, knowing that her trust had just been tested, and that his presence had been validated in her perception. He knelt a short distance away, careful not to overstep. She emitted a soft hum, almost like reassurance, acknowledging him. Ethan felt a deep respect and admiration for her intelligence and instincts. That evening, Ethan reflected on the events of the day. He realized that their bond had grown far beyond observation. She had fought not only for her eggs but also for him. The alien female had fully integrated him into her understanding of the nest, recognizing him as a partner in her own way. Ethan whispered softly, "I did not come to fight, but I am part of this now, and I will honor that trust." Over the next few days, the alien female's behavior continued to change. She allowed him closer access to the nest, sometimes even observing him as he documented her behaviors. She was patient, but her protective instincts were ever present. Ethan learned to anticipate her signals, moving carefully, watching her reactions and responding intuitively. Ethan also learned more about her social behaviors. She had rituals for tending her eggs, signals for hunting, and methods for defending the nest. Each behavior was deliberate and intelligent. She communicated without words, using posture, gestures, and sounds. Ethan learned to interpret these signals, responding in ways that maintained trust. The bond between them deepened, built on mutual understanding and respect. One day, while Ethan was documenting her behaviors, another threat appeared, a rival alien species, larger and more aggressive than the previous predator, approached the cliffs. Ethan's heart pounded. This was not a simple animal. This was an intelligent, territorial species that could pose a serious danger to both the female and her eggs. The alien female reacted immediately. She flared her wings wide, hissed, and positioned herself strategically between Ethan, the eggs, and the incoming threat. Ethan felt a surge of responsibility and fear. He could not intervene directly without endangering both of them, but he could use his tools to assist. Carefully, he positioned cameras and activated sensors, hoping to create distractions. The rival species approached cautiously, but the female was ready. She moved with precision, blocking their path, using the cliffs and terrain to her advantage. Ethan observed every tactic, noting her intelligence in combat and her ability to protect not only her young but also him. He realized that her perception of him as a mate now included survival. She was willing to risk herself for him, just as she would for her eggs. Hours passed with careful maneuvers, flares, and strategic movements. Finally, the rival species retreated, recognizing they could not overcome her. The female returned to her nest, calm but alert. Ethan approached slowly, aware of the bond that had just been reinforced through shared danger. She emitted soft hums, and he responded with a nod, understanding that their connection had deepened further. That night, Ethan sat near the cliff's edge, reflecting on the events. He had come to observe a nest, to study alien behavior and maintain detachment, yet he had become a participant in the alien female's life, trusted and included in ways he had never imagined. She had mistaken him for her mate, and in doing so had integrated him into her world. Ethan whispered to himself, "I came to observe, but I am now part of this. She trusts me, she protects me, and she includes me in her life. I cannot ignore that. I must honor it, respect it, and understand it." The bond between them had been tested and strengthened through danger. Ethan realized that their connection was no longer a misunderstanding. It was real in her perception and in his own growing understanding of her intelligence and instincts. He had become part of her world, not just as an observer but as a participant, trusted and included in ways that transcended species. The alien female curled protectively around her eggs, eyes still alert, but her posture relaxed slightly in Ethan's presence. He understood that she now saw him as a partner, a being worthy of trust and protection. He felt a deep respect for her strength, intelligence, and loyalty. As night fell over Zithera, Ethan watched the stars twinkle in the alien sky. The wind whispered through the cliffs, carrying the scent of the forest and the distant sounds of life. Ethan knew that the days ahead would bring more challenges, more discoveries, and perhaps more danger. But he also knew that the bond he shared with the alien female was unbreakable, built on trust, awareness, and mutual respect. And so on Zithera, under the alien stars and the gentle wind, Ethan's journey continued. He was no longer just an observer. He was a partner, a participant, and a witness to the intelligence, strength, and care of a species that had mistaken him for their mate, and in doing so, had welcomed him into their world, forever changing the course of his mission. The morning sun filtered through the dense canopy, casting dappled light on the ruins and jungle beyond. Alex awoke to the sound of distant waterfalls and the gentle rustle of leaves. Lyra was already awake, perched at the entrance of their chamber, her amber eyes scanning the forest. "Today we move further," she said, her voice calm but commanding. "The jungle still has lessons for you. There are challenges ahead and you must be ready." Alex stretched, feeling stronger than he had in weeks. His muscles were toned, his reflexes sharper, and his mind alert. He had survived predators, rival hunters, and the dangers of the alien ruins. But he knew that the jungle always had more tests and he would need to rely on everything he had learned. "I'm ready," he said, determination in his voice. Lyra nodded, a faint smile crossing her features. "Good, together we are unstoppable. Remember, your instincts, your mind, and your bond with me are your greatest strengths." They traveled through dense foliage, the jungle alive with movement. Birds with glowing feathers flitted through the trees and small creatures darted across the ground. Alex noticed how attuned Lyra was to every sound, every motion. Her instincts were unmatched, and he had learned to read them, anticipating her movements and understanding her warnings. As they reached a high ridge, Alex looked down at the sprawling jungle below. The ruins they had explored stretched into the distance, their glowing patterns fading in the morning light. Beyond them lay unexplored territories, mysterious caves and rivers that shimmered with strange energy. "Look carefully," Lyra said. "The jungle teaches not just survival but awareness. See the signs, understand the movements, and you will thrive." Alex nodded, scanning the landscape. He noticed faint tracks, evidence of both predators and other intelligent creatures. He realized that the jungle was a living map, constantly shifting and revealing new information to those who paid attention. As they descended the ridge, they encountered a small herd of herbivorous creatures grazing near a crystal-clear stream. Lyra crouched low, observing silently. "Do you see?" she asked. "Even the smallest movements tell a story. Learn patience and you will understand the jungle's secrets." Alex studied the herd, noticing how the smaller creatures stayed close to the larger ones, how they moved cautiously and how they reacted to distant sounds. He realized that every action had a reaction, every movement a consequence. The jungle was a web of life, and understanding it was essential for survival. Lyra watched him closely. "You have learned quickly. Your instincts are sharper. But remember, strength without understanding is dangerous. Knowledge is power." Alex nodded, appreciating the wisdom in her words. He had grown stronger physically, but his mind was evolving too. He was beginning to think like a guardian of the jungle, attuned to its rhythms and capable of anticipating its dangers. Their journey led them to a narrow canyon, the walls covered in glowing moss and ancient carvings. The air was cooler here, filled with the scent of water and stone. Alex noticed small creatures hiding in crevices and glowing insects hovering near the carvings. "This canyon is a test," Lyra said. "The ancients built it to challenge those who seek knowledge. You must move carefully. One wrong step and the consequences could be severe." Alex nodded, stepping cautiously. He followed Lyra's lead, observing her movements and mimicking her balance and precision. Together they navigated narrow ledges, avoided hidden traps, and interpreted the symbols etched into the canyon walls. At one point they reached a chamber with a natural pool of glowing water. Strange plants grew along its edges and crystals floated just above the surface. Lyra stepped forward, dipping her hand into the water. "These waters are powerful," she said. "They can heal, but they can also harm. Respect them, and they will serve you well." Alex followed her example, carefully placing his hands in the water. A warm, tingling sensation spread through his body, easing the fatigue from their journey. He realized that the jungle was not just a place of danger. It was a source of life, energy, and wisdom. As they continued exploring, Alex noticed more signs of other beings, small tools, footprints and symbols that did not match Lyra's people. "Lyra, more intruders?" he asked, concern in his voice. Lyra's ears twitched. "Yes, others seek knowledge, power, or territory. We must be vigilant. But do not fear. Together we are strong." Soon, a group of rival hunters emerged from the shadows. Smaller than Lyra, but fast and armed with energy-based weapons, they moved strategically, surrounding Alex and Lyra. Lyra stepped forward, placing herself between Alex and the intruders. "Stay behind me," she instructed. The battle was intense. Lyra's strength and agility were unmatched, and Alex used his training and understanding of the ruins to manipulate the environment. He triggered traps, blocked paths, and used devices to create barriers. The rival hunters were clever, but Alex and Lyra's teamwork was superior. After a grueling confrontation, the hunters retreated, realizing they were outmatched. Alex sank to the ground, exhausted but exhilarated. Lyra approached, her tail brushing against his arm in a gesture of reassurance. "You have grown strong," she said, "not just in body but in mind. You are ready for greater challenges?" Alex nodded, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. He had faced danger, learned, and adapted. He was no longer a human lost in the jungle. He was part of a team, part of a partnership that could face anything. That evening, they returned to their shelter, weary but triumphant. The jungle was alive with glowing plants and distant calls of creatures. Alex sat near Lyra, watching her curl protectively beside him. "You have changed," Lyra said softly. "Your instincts, your mind, your courage, all have grown. You are no longer just a human. You are my partner, my mate, and my companion. Together, we are stronger than anything this world can throw at us." Alex smiled, feeling a warmth in his chest. "I couldn't have done it without you," he admitted. "You've taught me so much and protected me when I couldn't protect myself." Lyra's ears twitched, a sign of approval. "You have also learned from yourself. That is what matters." You survive because you adapt. You are part of this world and part of me. For the first time since the crash, Alex felt a true sense of belonging. He was not alone, and he had not merely survived, he had thrived. The jungle, the ruins, and every challenge they had faced had forged a bond between them stronger than fear or danger. The following days were filled with exploration, training, and discovery. Alex and Lyra uncovered more of the ancient ruins, learning to control devices, interpret symbols, and navigate the complex network of chambers and tunnels. Each discovery brought new knowledge, new challenges, and new ways to survive. Alex's confidence grew. He could now anticipate dangers, make decisions quickly, and even lead when Lyra needed him to. Their teamwork was seamless, a combination of his human ingenuity and her alien strength and instincts. One afternoon, while exploring a chamber filled with floating crystals, Alex asked, "Lyra, what happens when we leave this jungle? Will we survive in the wider galaxy?" Lyra's amber eyes softened. "The jungle has taught you everything you need. Strength, awareness, trust, and adaptation. You are ready for anything. And wherever we go, we face it together," Alex smiled. The thought of exploring the galaxy with Lyra was both thrilling and comforting. He realized that the bond they had forged in the jungle was unbreakable. It was not just about survival, it was about trust, partnership, and understanding. As night fell, they sat near a fire in their shelter. The jungle hummed around them, alive with light and sound. Alex looked at Lyra, feeling a profound sense of gratitude. She had saved him, taught him, and helped him grow into someone capable of surviving in an alien world. "You've changed my life," he said softly. "I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm living. Because of you." Lyra's tail flicked, her eyes reflecting the firelight. "And you have grown because of yourself. You are brave, clever, and strong. That is why you survive. That is why you are mine." Alex reached out, gently placing his hand on her arm. "I trust you," he said. "And I will always follow you." Lyra leaned closer, purring softly. "Good. Trust is everything. Our bond is our strength. Together, we can face anything." For the first time in months, Alex felt completely at peace. He had survived crashes, predators, rival hunters, and the dangers of alien ruins. He had learned to fight, think, and adapt. But most importantly, he had formed a bond that could not be broken, a bond of trust, respect, and partnership with Lyra. The jungle was vast and full of dangers, but Alex no longer feared it. With Lyra by his side, he could face anything. Together they were unstoppable. Together they were a force that neither predators, rival hunters, nor the mysteries of the alien world could defeat. As the stars began to shine through the canopy above, Alex closed his eyes, feeling a sense of belonging he had never known. He was no longer just a human on a strange planet. He was a partner, a mate, and a survivor. And he knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, he and Lyra would face them together, stronger, wiser, and united. The jungle whispered around them, alive and eternal. And in its heart, Alex and Lyra had found not just survival, but a bond forged in trust, courage, and mutual respect. A bond that would endure beyond the limits of the jungle, beyond the ruins, and beyond the stars themselves.